vigilance, the action or state of keeping careful watch, standing guard, defending the bulwark between the righteous and the godless. Some stories are not easy to tell in a dignified and tactful way. Some stories are so base, so disgusting, so repulsive, so offensive that they can only be told in base, disgusting, repulsive, and offensive terms. So hang on. This one is going to be a bit gritty. On August 8th, 2016, I received a telephone call from a family member of Barbara Guthrie. Now, Barbara is the wife of Idaho Senator Jim Guthrie of McCammon. I was told that Barbara wanted to meet with me to discuss some inappropriate actions by the senator. I guess Barbara has just seen too much and bit her tongue for too long. She wanted to make a stand. An appointment was scheduled for the next day. For an hour or so, Barbara laid out a scandal of significant proportions. I must disclose that the following content is from the mouth of Barbara and is otherwise unsubstantiated, unless noted. Barbara began by describing Jim's return from a D.C. trip in June of 2014.
Jesus, 2 years ago, he come home. I'm the guy that always unloaded the suitcases and took care of everything. And he dropped his suitcase off. I'm totally innocent. And because some calves were out, and this is what started the whole thing.
Okay.
When he came back to the house, I had his suitcase laying here, and I was taking the dirty clothes that way and the clean clothes that way. And
sure.
I found something I probably shouldn't have. It shouldn't have been in there. And
Can I ask what that
caused
was?
me. That's what caused me to start watching and trying to figure out what was going on.
Okay. Can I ask what that was that you found?
Right at this point in time, I don't want to tell you.
Okay. Well, I'm just so you know, that's something that I can't publish. I mean,
it was sexual in nature.
Okay.
When he come in, he come back up to the house. He threw a fit because I was unloading his suitcase, which he's never done before.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd already seen it. He actually went in and got it. He had it folded up in some socks, and I actually threw it in the washer. I'm in shock.
Sure.
And I just, I was throwing some dirty clothes in the washer, and when it clunked, I dug in there. It's like, what the hey? And when I found it, I just left it there. And he come up to the house, and he actually went in and dug through my washer and dryer, of which that's nothing he does. And packed it off. And as time goes on, I says, we need to talk. We need to talk about what's going on. And you're so controlling. You're so this, you're so that. Okay. He's never been like that before.
Yeah. Can I ask the date of this trip that he came back? Do you remember the date approximately?
Between June 16th and June 18th, 2014. God. Yeah, 2014. June 18th through June 20th, 2014. Don't ask me why I keep that up there, but I do.
Okay, and this was a trip to D.C., you said earlier? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway,
can I just jump in for a second? I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt, but I just
fine.
have to clear these things up as they pop into my head. This item that you found that you're not comfortable identifying right now, this is something that would be used between a man and a woman or with a man and a woman? Mm-hmm. Okay. In a follow-up interview, I asked Barbara again about the item of asexual nature. This time she was ready to answer. I am with Barbara Guthrie. We have a follow-up interview, and I just want to clarify one question, and that is the item that you found hidden in Jim's socks. What was it?
It was a purple vibrator and a little bear that it was all but empty with gel.
Okay. A vibrator and a little bit of lubricant.
Yes.
Okay. With the purple and slippery evidence before him, Senator Guthrie apparently formed an excuse. Talk about brash, callous arrogance.
So as a result, I start watching him, and everybody tells me that's normal. It bothered me that I was doing that.
What's normal?
That you start watching your spouse because you suspect them.
Okay.
And you ask them, and we're talking too much. It's a little inappropriate. We're on committees together. It's a little inappropriate. Not surprisingly, Barbara began monitoring the phone bills to see if the inappropriate was continuing inappropriately. Anyway, as a result, I just continued to watch him and pull my phone bills, and this same number kept popping up. They'd talk anywhere from 1,100 minutes to 2,500 minutes a month.
Okay. Do you have these phone bills available?
Yeah, I do.
Okay. Could I get copies of those?
I can make copies for you.
Okay. When I asked, she confirmed that the telephone number does belong to the same woman identified when the purple vibrator was discovered. By November of 2015, Senator Guthrie apparently grew tired of having his phone activity monitored, so he took steps to hide his ugly actions. When I started watching the phone bill and whatnot, and this was back in November of 2015, and I was pushing him and I was quizzing him, and he says, it was a little inappropriate, we're not talking anymore. That's when I found out he had a secret phone. Okay. He had what they called or what I was told they're called, is a throwaway phone. Sure. Okay. You want to describe what happened there? Well, so anyway, he comes up and he says he was headed to Boise, and this was November. What year? 2015. Okay. They were having a training or something. And he says, I need my battery charger out of your car. So I got it out of my car. I got my battery charger his battery charger out of my car. And there's a charger inside of a Honda Pilot or a Honda Accord inside the armrest. Mm-hmm. And I says, let me plug it in for you. And I went to open that door up and plug that in. And he slammed that down on my hand. And he goes, what are you doing? And I says, I'm just going to plug that in. And you are so nosy. Anyway, so he told me to get out of his car. And by then I'm like furious. And no, I would not get out. Mm-hmm. Until I looked inside there. I never did look inside there, but I knew then that he had a phone, and I accused him of it, and he admitted it, that he had a secret phone. Okay. And that's how he got around me watching my phone bill. Then came the jaw dropper of epic proportions. You're going to be shocked with this one. Okay, can I jump in just a sec again? You said that he'd mentioned that he was on a committee with this woman. Mm-hmm. Okay, can I get this woman's name? Christy Perry. Really? The 6 seconds between Barbara identifying the woman and me forming a response were the longest of my life. It was like the wind had been knocked out of me. I felt like I'd been hit by a truck. My mind raced as I let this soak in and began to consider the innumerable implications. Really was all I could manage to say. Now, I contacted Matt Perry, husband of Christy Perry. In this conversation, he indicated that he may be willing to comment on the affair between his wife and Senator Guthrie. But he needed some time to consider his next move. Now, since that brief conversation, Matt has not taken or responded to my calls. Now, considering his difficult situation, I fully understand. However, Barbara touched on some things that she reported learning from Matt. These also must be brought into the open. Matt must expose the full truth because the people of Idaho, not only him, but the people of Idaho have been betrayed.
Now, Christy Perry is married, isn't she?
Yes.
Okay.
I can contact Matt and ask him if he would be interested in talking to you.
Who?
That's the husband. We've talked. He found out about it about the end of January this year, the 1st of February, and he called me, and he asked me, and I flat told him. And so I was honest with him. I told him. I felt like he had just as much right to know as anybody.
Sure.
He confronted her, and she confessed to him. Because he told me some stuff that Jimmy's never told me. He's always denied it.
Okay.
And I don't know if he'll talk to you or not. He's the one that told me that it was my duty to let people know what has really gone on.
Okay.
And Jimmy would tell me he was going to Boise to meetings, and I don't know if he used mileage on that to say he was going over there. I don't know.
Okay. So he was. Do you have reason to believe that he was going to Boise just to hook up, as opposed to going to meetings?
Yeah.
Do you have some evidence of that? Anything concrete?
Just what Matt told me. Just by what Matt told me. He told me that it's been 3 years that him and his wife has been having troubles, which coincides with me and Jim's.
Sure.
He also told me that in 2013, of which Jimmy never has admitted to, that when he went to Denver, Colorado, that Christy was there, and they actually went to Pikes Peak together. Jimmy never told me about any of that.
Okay, so Matt told you this?
Yes.
Okay, so it's whatever they've been doing it for a while.
Yeah.
Now, I think when we talked, when you contacted me, didn't we talk about, or didn't you mention something about improperly using public money for some trips?
Well, he went to Washington, D.C., and Matt's the one that I guess you need to talk to about that. And I don't know if I could just give you his phone number and you can call him. He's the one that Christy basically said they went to Washington, D.C., and they spent the same night in the same room.
Okay.
For 3 days. But yet there's 2 rooms that were rented.
Okay.
So let me lay this out for you. Apparently, Idaho Senator Jim Guthrie has been swimming in Representative Christy Perry's pool. And apparently, Idaho Representative Christy Perry has been swinging Senator Jim Guthrie's bat. These revelations bring to mind a number of disturbing questions. How many meals were written off at our expense when they were really illicit hookups between immoral leaders? How often have we paid for fares, tips, and more for the spread and the perfection of this godless immorality? How many times did Senator Guthrie write off mileage so that he could travel to Boise for a dip in Perry's pool? How often did Perry do the reverse for a bit of batting practice? How often over the years have the pair traveled across the state or nation in the pretense of official duties, only to rent 2 rooms and use one? How many vibrators were purchased? How many vibrators were purchased with public funds? And what were the exotic colors? How often did these 2 legislators participate in flirtatious phone conversations or even phone sex when they should have been about the business of the people? These questions and many, many more must be examined in minute detail. Any infraction in the smallest sense is theft against the people, and it must be prosecuted. Now I'm going to shift from the things that I've been told to the things I can prove. Now I've got some text messages downloaded from the phone company between Senator Jim Guthrie and Representative Christy Perry. I'm going to present these as typed without any effort to correct errors. Now I'm going to preface each text message sent with either Guthrie or Perry so that you know who sent what. On July 14th, there was a conversation. Guthrie, I'd like I make it with you. Smile emoji. Guthrie, I wish I was. Guthrie, yes. Perry, on the phone? Smile emoji. Guthrie, not yet. On August 13th, 2014, there was another conversation that I think you will find interesting. Guthrie, good morning, beautiful. Smile emoji. I'm in a meeting. Everything okay? Perry, can I call you in a few minutes? Perry, thank you. In 7 minutes, 23 seconds or less. Smile emoji. Guthrie, the timer is set at 8 minutes. I gave you a little leeway. You generally need it. Smile emoji. Perry, you are distracting me. Guthrie, really? Imagine what I could do if I sent a picture. Perry, or a video. Smile emoji. Guthrie, I'm going to shower right quick. Give me just over 6 minutes. Perry, I'm ready to talk now. Perry, you should drop everything and talk to me. Smile emoji. Perry, I'm timing you. Guthrie, I'm ready. Smile emoji. Perry, timer went off. Smile emoji. Perry, you are such a tease. Perry, talk now? Guthrie, yes. Really? Emojis? This is the type of conversation that might be found by a disappointed parent of a high school freshman. Good grief. Are these children? Or are they our legislators? Oh, and speaking of sending a picture, I believe that Jim did. I am in possession of a decidedly vulgar, decidedly offensive, and mildly pornographic selfie of an adult male. The face of the man is not visible. It is a shame that other parts of his anatomy, private parts, are not obscured as well. The following statements were made when I received the image.
Okay, now, all right, this photograph is not quite nude, but it's kind of close. And so I need to ask you, you know for sure that is Jim?
Yes.
Can you tell me how you know that?
Because I downloaded it off of his phone site.
Okay, you got it off of his phone site. You recognize this?
The color, I didn't print it in color for you. The towel's fine.
Okay, but I mean, you recognize this. This is him.
Yes.
Okay, and you got it off of his phone. Okay, do you know if it was sent to Christy?
Yes.
Okay, the phone record showed that it was sent to Representative Perry. Mm-hmm. Okay.
I am in possession of itemized phone records that show exorbitant minutes of conversation between the phone numbers of Guthrie and Perry. For example, in November 2013, they talked for 1,317 minutes. December 2013, 1,046 minutes. January 2014, 805 minutes. Now, the number went down. They didn't talk quite so much this month, but it's kind of important to point out that during this time, they would have been in Boise together during the legislative session. I would say that their conversations were face-to-face. April 2014, 2,319 minutes. August 2014, 1,590 minutes. September 2014, 1,060 minutes. This represents an average of 22.6 hours of monthly conversation spanning nearly a full year. Barbara has assured me that the missing bills are in the hands of her attorney and that they document the highest monthly minutes of all. If the missing bills, in fact, document higher minutes than those which are available to me, Guthrie and Perry spent roughly 40 hours monthly in sexual chit-chat. Throw in texting, actual sack time, and one must ask, when did the pair find time to perform their legislative duties and keep the promises made to the people? Having not always been the saint that I am today, I know that those who live on the edge of lawlessness seldom get caught for the first offense. If the following comments seem harsh, please accept my apology. Considering the low bar set by Guthrie and Perry, I cannot stoop lower. I cannot crawl lower. So I have some questions. You see, Perry rose up fast and has been taken under the wing and protected by some of the most powerful in the state. Public pool? Guthrie allegedly tells Barbara that spouses are not invited to state events when in fact they are. What's your batting average, Jim? These are base questions, but this is a base topic originated by two who should know better. If these allegations are true, we have placed two in high positions who are oath breakers, covenant breakers, deceivers, liars, and family wreckers. If these allegations are true, we have placed two in high positions who place their own selfish and lustful wants above the genuine needs of family and friends and the people of Idaho. The question is this: are we willing to trust our state, our children, our futures to these who have proven unworthy of any level of trust? There is an effort in McCammon to address the corruption of Guthrie. I had an opportunity to speak with John Schwartz. I'm Lance Earl. I'm following up on the story of Jim Guthrie and his inappropriate actions. I'm speaking with John Schwartz of McCammon, Idaho. And John, you are aware that I am recording this conversation. Is that correct?
Yes, I am.
Okay. John, I'm calling because I wanted to visit with you a little bit about a complaint you filed with the Idaho State Legislature against Jim Guthrie. Can you tell us a little bit about that complaint?
Well, it was a complaint letter. I sent it off to the legislature, Committee of Ethics, and they sent it back to me saying I would have to find a senator to sponsor the letter. In other words, it had to be a senator complaint. And I went back on the Idaho website and saw that recall could be done by petition. I typed up a petition and gave it to this other fellow that's supposed to do an affidavit. You have to have first-hand knowledge, and of course, all I have is hearsay of what's going on. But I'm pretty sure that people are honest about it.
Okay. Can you tell me specifically what you were complaining about?
There was some infidelity in the marriage, and according to Idaho statute, that a legislator for the state is supposed to serve in times of good behavior. He's also treated some people I know unfair truthfully in his business dealings. Therefore, that'd be a moral clause, but, judges kind of wave at that in Idaho. If you're in any kind of elected position, they forgive a bunch of that, which wouldn't be forgiven under other circumstances. If I committed the same thing, I'd be arrested.
It's interesting. I've actually been down this road myself, and one of the most frustrating things is the legislators or the legislature will not investigate itself. They absolutely will not. And so this is the trouble that we have. Well, John, I can tell you, I do believe that I have some very, very solid evidence against Jim Guthrie, which I will gladly, happily present to you that you can use in this effort, because he must be recalled. It's my belief that he must be recalled.
There are several of them that need recall, but he's the worst offender that I know of to date. And of course, he's from our area.
So it's your business to take care of that. So John, if I can help in any way, you've got my number. Feel free to contact me, and we will move forward and remove this scourge from our Idaho legislature. Thank you for your time, John.
Yes, sir. No problem.
Have a wonderful day.
Thank you.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.
John mentioned that Guthrie can serve in times of good behavior. What a joke. The Idaho legislature will not legislate itself. How many legislators knew? How many kept the secret? Does anyone believe that every legislator was unaware? Now, folks, we have a problem. The legislature writes the rules that pertain to any investigation into itself. Therefore, a fair and impartial investigation is virtually impossible. The legislature writes rules that pertain to a citizen's recall of its members. Therefore, a citizen's recall is virtually impossible. A few years ago, I proved beyond a shadow of a doubt that Representative Kelly Packer used her power to crush the First Amendment protections of myself and a Pocatello doctor. I proved that she had used the power of her office to destroy the livelihood of a doctor who has faithfully served this community. I proved that Packer had followed through on her threat and taken actions to destroy a clinic that had served the city of Pocatello for over 100 years. I contacted Representative Ken Andrus, then a member of the Ethics Committee. He wrung his hands, he hummed and hawed, and he refused to even consider my complaint. This is the level of self-serving corruption that cankers Idaho today. I called Senator Guthrie and Representative Perry for comment. They did not take my call. So I left a message requesting a return call. They have not replied. John Adams stated, "Our Constitution was made only for a moral and religious people. It is wholly inadequate to the government of any other," unquote. I now leave it to you. Will you demand that these allegations be aggressively investigated? If found to be factual, will you see to it that these two never fill a public seat again? My future, your future, Idaho's future is in your hands. I asked Barbara if she would like to say something to the people who have trusted Senator Guthrie.
What would you say to the people out there, the people in District 28 that have been trusting him? What would you say about his integrity? What would you have them know about him?
When he first got elected, he was, in my eyes, the most trustworthy person. He would search everything out, and he's just turned into a true politician. There should be, I'm sorry, but I think they're right. Now that I look back, there should be term limits. They should be rotated. Because once you're in there so long, you forget why you're there.
I'm Lance Earle. I'll see you soon.